Hey guys, welcome back to another TBC PvP guide. This will be a quick video that simply shows you guys how to start gearing for PvP at level 70. I'll do another video soon regarding gearing during the arena seasons. But to start, let's begin with the first thing you'll need before you should even think about stepping into the arena, and that's your first PvP set of gear. Before we begin, I just want to explain the difference in Classic and TBC PvP gear. As you can imagine, not only is the TBC gear stronger with better stats, but most of it has gem sockets, which are very important. On top of that, PvP gear must have stamina, and a lot of it. However, in TBC, a new stat was introduced solely for PvP, and that's resilience. Resilience is a new stat that was introduced in TBC that reduces periodic damage and chance to be critically hit by a percentage based upon resilience. It also reduces the effect of mana drains and the damage of your critical strikes done to you by that percentage based upon your resilience again. As you can imagine, this is very, very important in PvP. Without this, you get melted, especially if you're a caster and especially as you're first gearing. You want to have resilience on as many pieces as you can, along with slotting res gems in your sockets as you get them. This is paramount to being successful in PvP starting out, especially if you're new to PvP. Another thing to mention, a lot like the 3 sets on classic ranking gear, is the TBC PvP gear sets also have set bonuses that are equally important for many, if not all classes. Each 2 set gives you bonus resilience that is much needed and will give you a big boost in survivability. You can even mix match 2 sets, so you can have 2 sets on, stacking for 35 resilience each for a total of 70. And the 4 sets from each class are super important and niche for each class, ranging from a shorter cast time on fears for warlocks to a ranged interrupt for rogues, making them even more deadly. Every class has its own niche 4-piece ability that power spikes their class. Now, it's not as simple as just hitting 70 and spamming these arena matches. While you can decide to do that, like I said, you will get devoured. The enemy will notice your severe lack of HP and resilience, and you will be targeted and destroyed every time. So to save you that pain and agony, here's what myself, along with almost all other PvPers, do to prepare to enter the arena once we hit level 70. Starting with leveling. While leveling, there's not too many things you can do to prepare for PvPing at 70 besides, well, PvPing while leveling. You can get a ton of world PvP fights while you're leveling, which can help you hone your skills. But outside of that, you'll find yourself replacing your leveling gear with real PvP gear. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not well versed in what each class can be getting while leveling that will help them improve in PvP. I'm sure there are guides out there done by people better suited to speak on specific classes than myself. But one thing I do know that you should keep in mind is a vendor located in Trinket Forest who allows you to spend a special type of currency called spirit shards to purchase a couple solid PvP items, if you've got the spirit shards of course. One of which is a very powerful PvP ring that you'll find yourself using for quite some time. The best part of this is that you can actually get that at level 67. Along with the ring, there's also a level 66 helmet for each class as well that actually has not only resilience on it, but also a meta gem. Although this helmet won't be as good as your actual first PvP helmet that we'll discuss in a little bit, it's still a nice start. The vendor also sells not only that, but also a couple meta gems. To delve in on spirit shards, these are only obtained by killing bosses in the Akanai dungeons, however only while your faction has control of the spirit towers. How spirit towers work is quite simple. There are 5 spirit towers located in the bone waste of Trinket Forest. Every 6 hours, all 5 towers will become uncontrollable and capturable by standing near the towers until the bar fills in the direction of their faction. The more players of your faction buy it, the faster you will capture the tower. Once all 5 towers have been captured by a single faction, they will become uncapturable and the area will be considered under the control of the winning faction for 6 hours. Whichever faction is in control gets a buff while in the zone called the Blessing of Akandun that increases experience gained by 5%, increases your damage by 5%, and more importantly, allows you to loot spirit shards off the boss in the Akanai dungeons. Once you see that your faction has control of them, just simply spam any of the Ak dungeons. It consists of Akanite crypts, shadow labyrinths, Sethic halls, and mana tombs. Bring this up now because there's a lot of talk of dungeon grinding your way to 70, so if you plan to already be spamming these dungeons, you will find yourself getting very nice items that will power spike you in PvP, and many spirit shards. Okay, so now you're 70. You've made it. You've lived in dungeons or battled your way in the open world to 70. You might think you're ready for PvP now. Well, unfortunately, there's a little more prep you need. Well, not needed, but very much important to your success in the PvP gear grind ahead of you. Your first PvP set. This PvP set is blue and will be what you wear until you can purchase all your purple PvP arena gear. Now this can go one of 2 ways. We won't know until Blizzard informs us of which patch they decide to launch at. However, regardless of this patch, there's only 2 ways that this can go down. First way is if the patch is before 2.4. If it is, this will take much more work to obtain, but needs to be done regardless. You'll need to live inside a battleground, stockpiling honor and marks to be able to purchase your main 5 slots of gear, which will be a blue PvP set consisting of your head, shoulders, chest, gloves, and pants. Now, if Blizzard decides to go with the 2.4 or further patch, PvP starter gear just got much easier to obtain. Thanks to the 2.4 patch, it is now significantly easier to get a respectable amount of PvP gear without ever having to step foot into a battleground. This patch introduced a blue PvP set that is exactly identical stat-wise to the blue PvP set that you would be farming with honor and marks. except you don't need to farm any honor and marks, but instead you can spend a minuscule amount of gold on the same 5 pieces of gear, meaning your head, shoulders, chest, gloves, and pants. The only thing is you have to be honored with the 5 following reps: Lower City, Thrallmar for your Horde or Honor Hold if you're Alliance, Keepers of Time, Shatar, Cenarian Expedition. Now before you complain about having a PvE for rep, let me comfort you by letting you guys know that it's so goddamn easy to get honored. If you quested while leveling, I'm sure you're already honored, and if you're not, a few dungeon runs will get you there. If you do not level from questing and you chose to dungeon grind your way to 70, then you're more than likely honored already, and once again, if you're not, just run a couple more dungeons. Honored is very, 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 very easy to obtain, and each piece is like 15 gold each or some ridiculously cheap amount. Now that you got a decent foundation in your PvP stats, it's time to hit the battlegrounds, kill some people, cap some flags, and get some honor and marks. You can expect to live inside battlegrounds so you can purchase your beautiful off pieces. This will include your cloak, bracers, belt, boots, and of course your jewelry, which includes your neck, your trinkets, your rings. However, hopefully you listened to the first tip while leveling and got your easily obtained ring from the spirit shards. As for the weapons, unfortunately, the only PvP ones that have resilience that you can obtain will come from arena and arena points. In the meantime, you can just get your hands on a weapon that fits your stats for your character. For example, as a Warlock main, I know my weapon comes from Exalted Rep, as with most, if not all the other classes. So you can decide to get that rep done and get a powerful weapon, or if you don't want to waste time, then you can use whichever you've obtained while leveling. However, you will be less powerful, since the weapon won't be as good as your rep one, which will typically be heavily statted for damage. As for offhands, relics, range weapon, wands, and everything else, the PvP counterparts with resilience are also obtained in arena with arena points as well. You can find many offhands in the world that you can use for a stat stick in the meantime. The badge vendor has a really good offhands for most classes for some badges of justice if you feel like farming heroics. If you don't, just simply use whichever you can get your hands on. I'm not here to tell you which order to get your op pieces in. That's something that's up to you, and I'm sure there will be many guides suggesting which order to go in. However, I don't play those classes to be able to guide you on that journey. What I can say though is the first thing you should focus on is your PvP trinket. Now be careful, because there's 2 different PvP trinkets that you can choose from, but only one choice is the one you need to pick. As you can see here, one has res and the other one doesn't. Not only that, but the one with resilience is also the one with a 2-minute cooldown. The other is a 5-minute cooldown. I don't need to tell you which one to get. Alright, now that you've got your first PvP set, it's time to head into the arena and start grinding. I'm going to end here, and I'll have another video soon going into the details on each season, arena points, the arena system, and the gearing. But for now, I'll leave you with the following. You need arena points in order to buy the best pieces of gear in the game for your character in the current season. The pieces are head, shoulders, chest, gloves, pants, weapons, offhands, and wands. You have to do 10 games per reset in order to get your arena points for that exact reset. You get points based on the size of your team. The more points, you get more points for doing 3s, and you get more points for doing 5s. It doesn't matter if you win or lose the games, as long as you get 10 games and it played at least 30% of the team's games. Also, the higher your rating is, the more points you get on the reset. So get those games in. Stock up on arena points and spend them as you feel. Well guys, that's it for this one. I didn't want to take too much of your time, and I hope this helped you guys out who are unsure how to gear or how to start PvPing once you are 70. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything or if you have something to add or questions. As always, catch me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/crixgaming_, and I'll see you on the next one.